Welcome everyone to the Proven Knowledge Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Church. I'm a music producer from Northeast Ohio. I began this weekly interview series to give you different perspectives on how to approach a career in the field from different artists, producers, engineers, and other great minds who share their stories on not only what's made them succeed, but also what has shaped them into the people that they are today. I hope you gain some real proven knowledge from the show, and that it helps elevate you in your endeavors on your own journey towards success as well. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 156 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today I welcomed an MC out of Jacksonville, Florida. He's actually an artist that I connected with via a song contest that I ran on my email list a few weeks ago. His name is PSYK. We talked about his influences, mostly from, rappers like Trick Daddy and DMX, how they inspired him to, be in hip hop in general. Having over 20 years of experience, we talked about the changes that he's witnessed. Primarily, the change as far as having to put yourself out there more on social media as an artist and promote yourself and be a brand and things like that. And we just went into some different things about, how he's continued to evolve his sound, producing for himself and for other artists as another side of, what he's doing. And I think that's great for him to have. He described kind of the freedom that gives him. I really love how he's approaching it now. After having just turned 40 years old, he's still going strong and still trying to do this thing and do it with a great mindset. I think that's the most important thing, is our mindset. And he talks about, just having to shift that mindset to more of a positive attitude to keep going. So I hope you guys can take a lot from this episode. There were some bits that cut out due to connection issues, so I tried to edit this together the best it could. But I think that, you're still going to get a lot of great gems out of this one. And without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome, everyone, to episode 156 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series, and today's guest is actually someone that just won a recent song contest that I did about a month ago. And this guy is out of Jacksonville, Florida. We've connected on BeatStars. We've connected through email, all kinds of stuff. I'm excited to get to know more about this guy. And he goes by the name of PSYK. How are you, man? Welcome to the show.
I'm good. How are you?
Dude, I'm doing great. And like I said, man, I'm pumped for this as well. And we've been kind of, teasing it the last couple of weeks, and we're finally going to make it happen here. And, to start off every episode, we have the guest give some background. How did you get into music? How long have you been doing it? Just some basic information for those that might not know, you and what you do.
Yeah, I've been doing music my whole life, ever since I was always kind of rapping on the side, and then we got our first real home studio, I guess, when I was about 20, 21, something like that, and that's when first time we really got to sat down and see what we could actually make happen. And we I'm really part of a group, I'm not a solo act, I'm part of a group, called ERS. But anyway, we always used to rap. And then, I had the studio in my house, so I had an unfair advantage, you know what I'm saying? So I was always practicing, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it's I kind of developed my style and shit, on the side. But anyway, been rapping basically my whole life, just never really went for it to put it out there, because I was always more of a hobby, kind of what Jacksonville really didn't have no scene. There wasn't nothing really. We had, as far as I knew, there was Young Cash, and then there was Osiris, and then everybody else just was around. No disrespect to them, it's just that it was hard to come up on. But then everybody started looking at Jacksonville, woody woo. So it was man, why don't we just give this shit one more shot while there's something to get.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's awesome, man. And I'm glad to hear you've been at it for a while. So how long, how many years is that then for you? It's got to be probably, over 20 years then, I would assume.
Yeah, it's about 20 even.
Nice,
yeah,
man.
If you count it down. I just turned 40, so.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I still feel young because I'm only 25. So I like to talk to people that have more experience anyway, you know what I mean? And they've seen kind of the changes over time. So for you, I mean, if you've been around for that long, so that's early 2000s basically at this point. So what do you think has been the biggest change that you've seen, just maybe in your own career or just in general, as far as, how you're approaching doing music? Because I know it's a totally different time than it was back then. The accessibility's there. A lot of things are different. So what do you think has been the biggest change or maybe even obstacle for you that you've witnessed?
I I guess I say big because obstacle for me was like wrapping your head around like social media. That would have been it. Like I mean, we came up from like we barely had. All right, I feel like an old timer already, but I'm just keep it real. We had MySpace. That was it. Like that was it. That was probably before even y'all was even born. Like
I was gonna say because I remember when MySpace was kind of getting phased out around like 2009, 10. And that was when I was in like middle school, and that was kind of the end of MySpace and the beginning of like Facebook, and then everything else kind of followed. You know what I mean? So, and yeah, I know that MySpace used to be like big in discovering and collaborating with musicians too, and just like finding different people from all over the world, and that had to be kind of like a culture shock back then because it had to have gone from like you only know people in your area or you only know like the big artists to now you're connected with everyone. You know what I mean? Exactly. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I mean, the thing was, like, honestly, like, back then, like, you know what I'm saying, Woody Woo, you know, honestly, like, I was never on Facebook. I had more thought, like, don't put me on no Facebook. Like, no, like, me and my friends, we had no, we wanted nothing to do with no, don't put my face on. I'm not telling anybody what I'm doing at any point in time in the day, you know? Like, we was already, like, we was allergic. Yeah, so then when I come back and I met this young cat around here he's already come home. But anyway, I ain't gonna like clout chasing up a little. I know who I'm talking about. I seen one day like my big homie. He was the one who told me he's like, man, we might need to give this another shot because it's been a while. I ain't gonna lie, it's been a bit since we like really actually was doing anything. And he said we need to give. And he didn't really say it, but it's kind of like that's what it was. And you know, met this young cat, and it's like the first time I ever seen anybody who's actually on a CD and listening to on Spotify. And I was like, you know, I know I'm looking hard headed. I'm looking at Cuz like as he's walking up the truck, and it's like, wow. So it's like, okay, we can get on. It's like that's what it, you know. But along the way, there was making the music. So got me some Pro Tools set up, got me a decent mic, yada yada, you know, making the music sounding I've ever been able to do. And it's been a progression over about 2 years now. Anyway. The thing that I'm getting to is that the part that really like hit me like a brick wall is like you can make great music, great, you know, you got all the repertoire, blah blah blah. Promote it. You got to put yourself out there. You got to be seen. And it's like, man, it was like a little girl who I'm talking about. Like I was actually this video like 0.4 seconds, but they like had this little scene where they cut over to me and they're like panning up with the camera and stuff, and I'm like, it just froze up because it was just like. The boogeyman.
Not used to the limelight.
I'm in this video for real, you know.
Yeah, not used to the limelight. Not used to all that stuff.
It's like
But you're right, man. It's right.
That's good promo, though.
Yeah.
You know, the promo is everything.
Yeah, and you're right because it really is that era that we're in. And I was just having this conversation on another podcast that I was a guest on the other day about how even on the producer side, because I'm a producer, but it's becoming the same as it is for artists where you can't really be behind the scenes anymore all the time. You know, you can still do that here and there, but it's like if you're trying to take it to a certain level, you kind of got to have a plan in place to put yourself out there, do interviews, do a little social media. I know everybody's always like, you know, they view it as like the biggest evil ever, like social media. Oh, it's just so bad. And there's a lot of bad stuff on there, right? There's a lot of bad like people on there, let's be honest. And a lot of crazy stuff, but I think it's just using it for like good and using it for, you know, what's constructive and what's going to help you move yourself along too, and just keeping up with like where things are now, and just everything has just moved so fast. Even the last like really since the pandemic, like look how many different things have changed since then, and just the way that people are, you know, presenting themselves on different platforms or creating their own platforms for people. So yeah, it really just is like, you know, finding where you fit in all that stuff. But I feel that about kind of, you don't want to always be like in the videos or just in the limelight all the time, because you still want to keep, and you like, I think you mentioned this earlier, you want to keep that side of your personality that is your personal life. You know what I mean? So you have to, find the balance between what is the things I'm going to keep private and with my friends and family, and what are the things I'm going to tell others about and share it with everyone, so everyone has access to it. And it's like finding that kind of that fine line is just, it can be difficult depending on like what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool because, you know, I mean, but when I seen like think for instance, when I seen your email, I guess I saw your email. If you remember, like I seen your email like maybe 3 days before the end of the contest too. Like I must have missed it the first time.
I was gonna say I had to remind people about it too. I wanted to send like a reminder out to people as well, because I knew that one and done wasn't probably gonna get it done. But I had a few people send in songs, so
yeah. But they I guess you had said that it was supposed to have been sent out like 30 days before. I only got it like a day or two before, so I was like, I just threw together all my best stuff because again, what I'm saying is like goes back to the promo. I'm thinking like, man, it's like, even if you're like runner up or something, like that's still promo. Like somebody might get out.
Yeah, and I definitely commend you, man, for doing it and sending in the work, and I mean, again, like look where you are now. You know what I mean? If you never sent it in, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I think I'd say you did the good thing, and just continue putting yourself out there and getting those opportunities. So that's definitely awesome, man. And I do want to backtrack to basically who were some of the influences either when you were growing up or even nowadays, like artists that you listen to, artists that you're inspired by, just people that you still to this day have in rotation that always give you energy and fuel to kind of do your own thing.
As in musically?
Yeah, musically.
Like music-wise?
I should have clarified that. It could be anyone else too, even other creatives, but for the most part, music related. Hey, hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick minute out to let you know how you can become a monthly supporter of the show. So if you click on the show description in your podcast platform, you'll see the words support this podcast toward the bottom, and you can follow that link to sign up. You have the options of donating $1, $5, or $10 a month, and that'll be used towards making the show a better experience for you as the listener. That means new and exciting guests, giveaways, and a lot more that we can continue to provide for you. So feel free to click that link and check it out, or visit anchor.fm/provenknowledge/support to contribute today. And for now, let's get back into the episode.
Yeah. Well, like number one would have been Crazy Bone. Like Crazy Bone he always, to me, he was just, as far as the flow goes and like just as an overall artist, like he just was always head and shoulders above the rest of me. Like that, I was always bone something like, and then I guess Trick Daddy was hot in the South back then, but see, Trick Daddy was like, to me, he was the unappreciated artist because I feel like, a lot of people didn't understand, but what I loved about Trick Daddy was like he talked like we talk, so I always like that. But he was a raw artist. Like, I think I probably ended up with more influence by him than I really realized, like in my own style. But I guess them two, and then DMX. DMX actually, like DMX would have been a big one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I was a huge I had a shaved head and a dog chain. Man. Yep. I mean, boy, they used to have names for me. But that one too. So I guess that'd be probably top 3.
Nice, man. I was gonna guess probably like definitely Southern hip hop. I was thinking more like Bun B, Paul Wall for some reason.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Trick Daddy, because Florida. You know what I'm saying? Like back then in Florida, he was about the only. He probably the only. Well, I mean, there was JT Money, and then he had 95 South Boys. It was from here, but they did like booty shake music, so that was almost like before my time.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not as familiar with like the Florida hip hop as far as like all that, besides like Miami music scene and stuff like that. So I'm not. I would love to hear. I always love to hear from the people that are actually from there, like what the kind of vibe is and like the history of it too. So that's definitely great, man. And it's always great to look back at the people that really just made you say, wow, I want to kind of do this myself, or like try this in my own way. So that's always great to have. And
I think it was a transference of energy. The way that those particular people rap, to me, like it was almost a transfer of energy because it just makes you want to rap. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you hear them do it, the energy, and that's the only way to describe it. It's like it's the energy that through music. Like you can make somebody feel the way you're feeling right then, if you say it the right way, the right.
I was gonna say DMX especially, because like his energy was on another level. So
sure was.
But yeah, totally agree with that. And Obviously, rest in peace, DMX as well. Great artist. As far as artists that, because I know you said you were kind of like in a group at one point, and you've had people, collaborators, different people around you throughout your time of doing music. Who are some people that you want to shout out on this show that we should know about, or just people that have been important in your journey?
Well, I mean, first of all, it'd be like the Souls, because it's like that's who really put me in the game. First, Joy Killer, because Joy Killer, he in the group, but like at one point I was ready to quit. Like I said, bro, I ain't cut out for this. Like I didn't have the self confidence. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just, it like puts you immediately like really interesting places like really quick. And I was really young. And I was like, bro, I don't. But he's like the only person who don't believe in you is you. And I'll never forget that. So it's like, for one, like anything I ever do, I feel like I owe to him, because I say it all the time. Like I threw in the towel, he threw it back at me. So. Him first and foremost, and then, my big homie, I just call him Cuz for right now, because I don't know how much he wants me to say. But anyway, him, and then, Reverend Courage, he was probably one of the best artists. Like, he's just so talented. He's really like a real life Nate Dogg. I had a particular time with him alone, because everybody else, we had 4 people in the group, so. Everybody had things going on, we'll put it that way. It was just me and him at one point. We made about 20 or 30 tracks, and that was really where it's like, I feel like I hit a level, like, during that time period working with him. Then, my little homie June, who you'll catch, he's doing, but, like, the best I've ever worked with, like, from the next generation, like, I feel like he's just next level, That's about all that I actually work with. I mean, I got a lot of respect for a lot of other people, but I can't say I work with them. Yeah.
Yeah, what? It's definitely great to have people, and I like how you said about your one friend, how you were going to kind of give up, and he was there to kind of keep you going, because that's such an important thing to have. I feel like a lot of people might not have that, where it's like you always are fed like self-doubt, or you don't feel like you're good enough, but then when you have that other person to kind of be there and say, if you just keep going, you're going to see the results. It sounds like he was kind of that for you. You know what I mean?
He told me, like, so, I mean, I was ready to quit. He's like, you're not seeing, told me you ain't seeing it clear. And I really didn't. I mean, I really didn't see what he was seeing, and I didn't see what nobody else was seeing until maybe recently.
Yeah. I
mean, recently is where I really kind of started listening to my music, and it's not like I'm feeling myself, but it's kind of like, hey, look, you can't say that you just ain't no good. You know what I mean? That you're lying to you. Now you got to go out of your way to tell yourself that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I say, it's like nobody ever wants to say they better than anybody, but nobody ever wants to say they not as good as anybody either.
Yeah.
So.
And we can always be our own like worst critics too sometimes, which kind of it might even deter us from the path we're supposed to be on to begin with.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, I think that's a testament to, you just sticking with it, man, and just seeing where it's gonna go. So I commend you for that as well. It's definitely awesome. Is there anything that, because I know you've been dropping a lot of stuff on SoundCloud recently, and I know you probably got more tracks coming. What can we be on the lookout for? Maybe let's say the summertime, since that's approaching. Are you just gonna keep going with the SoundCloud songs? Or you got more in the works? Maybe going to streaming soon? Like, what do you think you're gonna be doing?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I was just actually doing like I think I'm up to probably about 5 or 6. I mean, this is like I said, the first time I ever like been working to put something out, and I'm also just like, I'm a rapper, but I do my own production, which has turned out great, and I encourage people to do that. 'Cause the more you do your own production, the more control I feel over you have over your, what I'm saying, the sound you're trying to put out, the energy you're trying to put out. It's kind of like I say, it's kind of like being like Tony Stark for a rapper,
Yeah.
Because not all, if you find a producer, I produce for, what I'm saying, anybody pretty much who comes to me like, who I got to buy with, like, I'll produce for you for free. That's the way I see it, because we all just trying to get on right now. But, I don't think that all producers are always putting all their energy into putting some people over. Like, I feel like some rappers are being all the effort that they can have in their production. Like, I hear stuff all the time, and like, I'm not even a professional. People kind of have they do X, Y, or Z. It almost makes me feel like they ain't giving enough effort.
It's great to hear that you can do that too, man, and that you got that going, and who knows where that could go, because you keep producing, you know, like you said, you've already been working with different artists. That's just another side of your repertoire, you know what I mean, and side of your sound that you have to kind of mess around with, and just like you said, give artists another opportunity and just expand your sound as well. So that's definitely awesome to hear, man.
Yeah.
And last few questions here. Go ahead, man.
In the long run, I think. No, I was just gonna say in the long run, like I think the production is kind of a safe bet, because you know whether or not you make it or not, you know you can always be one who helps put somebody over.
Yeah.
That's something that's kind of open ended.
Yeah, man.
But anyway,
Exactly. So last few questions here, and these are ones I ask on every episode. The first one is, if you could go back 10 years ago, maybe give yourself a piece of advice, or maybe not change anything at all, what do you think you would do?
Follow your heart. Don't follow your mind. Like, honestly, like, I'm not even trying to be poignant. It's just really like that. That's what I would really tell myself.
It's simple, too. You know what I mean? It's simple advice, but everyone can relate to it.
Yeah, in my particular case, if I was 10 years ago right now, and it's crazy you say that because I just turned 40. You know what I'm saying? So you're going back exactly to 30.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm still kind of in my prime and stuff. Like, I don't feel old at all. So it's like, you know, you listen to my music, it's like the energy's, you know, I mean, anyway. But if I had to go back, like, specifically what I would tell myself, don't spend the next 10 years following your mind, follow your heart. Because your heart wasn't lying to you.
Yeah. And if we flip that then and we say 10 years from now, where do you think you envision yourself in music and life and all that stuff?
A nice little 2 or 3 year run and give me a couple million and kick back. You know, before they figure out I'm too old. And that would be that's where I'm hoping to go for. I think that's about it. I mean, other than that, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's about as good as goals as any, man. And you know, hopefully they don't kick you out at 50. Hopefully that's not what happens. But hopefully you can keep going.
I mean, I guess if you get kicked out like by old age, like Vinny Testaverde, I mean, hey, you know, I guess that means, you know, look, you know, you can only be so mad. Yeah. You can only hate on that so much.
Yeah. And he played what, 20-some years, I think.
I see the last throw bro ever tried to make to us. It was like a sideline screen to a wide receiver. That joker bounced. So I said, Vinny, bro,
it's time.
It's been great.
Yeah, it's time to hang it up. Yeah, for real, man. Because you see, you got like Tom Brady. He at least made it look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you can talk, but you know, Tom had the best offensive line money could buy for like 27 seasons.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you got a quarterback who's able to throw the ball down and yell at everybody when his t-shirt gets dirty, he's gonna play through about 52.
Yeah. Little different than Testaverde for sure. So. And the final question on today's episode for you, man, is do you have any final words of wisdom today for the listeners?
Nah, man. I mean, I'm trying to figure it out like everybody else.
You say we all got it. All just taking it one day at a time. You know what I mean?
That's it. I mean, I'm trying to fit. I guess I just even with the same thing I said before.
Yeah, definitely sound advice, man. And like I said, you know, I just appreciate you once again, man, for participating in the contest, for being a part of it, for showing me support. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you got coming up, man, and keep doing your thing. Because like I said, I think it's great that you are, you know, just continuing to persevere, keep going, try new things, expand your sound, man, and just, you know, never give that up. I think you got a good spirit, and like I said, I'm looking forward to staying in touch with you, man. So thank you so much.
All right, man, no problem. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for listening today. That was episode 156. We'll be back this time next week. As always, hit the support button on your podcast streaming platform if you'd like to send any funds. And feel free to leave us that 5-star rating if you enjoyed today's episode. So we'll see you then. Thanks, guys.